Hey you guys, Northwest First Amendment audits here. Just wanted to send out a quick video and let you know what's going on. I've got a really big video that I'm working on right now. I'm having a lot of issues with it. There's a ton of work that needs to be done, but I didn't want to leave you guys hanging. Definitely want you guys to be able to get a little sneak peek of what's coming, and it's going to be huge, trust me. So putting this together to let you know what's going on, and definitely be watching for the full video. And so what you're going to see on those videos is going to be pieces taken from the motion to suppress hearing and their testimony under perjury, under oath, and then compared to the things that were said at the time, body cams, and other video. So just to let you know, that's what we're working on, and yeah, enjoy.
So he's up here again. He was taking pictures of houses. But we have a sinking suspicion that he's still trying to locate Denise's house. We're hoping to hook him on. I believe we have probable cause for stalking. I just wanted to hopefully get your blessing so we don't get a nasty email when we get off shift. Yep. It fits. It's repeatedly showing up in a location, taking pictures of people's residences. That I think the element is that invokes fear or something like that in the person that's possibly being stalked. And Denise is obviously super worried about this. I'll actually pull up the exact Idaho code. I mean, I've spent like 4 hours up here tonight looking for him. Okay, stalking in the second degree. A person commits the crime of stalking in the second degree if the person knowingly and maliciously engages in a course of conduct that seriously alarms, annoys, or harasses the victim. We've obviously met that part. And in such as would cause reasonable person substantial emotional distress. I mean, Denise is super stressed out by this, so is her husband, Mike. Or engages in a course of conduct that would reasonable person would be in fear of death or physical injury, or in fear of death or physical injury of a family or household member. So I'd fall under action A. Course of conduct for the subsection means repeated acts of non-consensual contact involving the victim or family or household members of the victims, provided, however, the constitutional protected activity is not included within the means of this definition. Non-consensual contact means any contact with the victim that is initiated or continued without the victim's consent, that is beyond the scope of consent provided by the victim. So that's the one part that I think is a little bit more of a gray area, and the only reason that it hasn't been to that point is because he doesn't know exactly where Denise lives, because we've gone through significant means to protect that information. But the fact that this is the third time he's been up here looking for that address, I believe in and of itself should constitute non-consensual contact. Non-consensual contact can be following the victim or maintaining surveillance, including by electronic means. Because we have him detained right now, so. He talked to Cousins a little bit. Cousins obviously has a bit of stake in, or he's been hunting him for a while, or working this case for a while.
Alright you guys, and hopefully this video isn't jumping around too much so that it's making sense here. Basically the two incidents we have is the December 20th when they pulled me over supposedly for not using my blinker for the full 5 seconds, and a suspicious call of this ECO thinking she's being followed home. This one here is going to be from January 2nd of a suspicious person that they report was driving around and taking pictures. So this was the report that Officer Cousins used to forced me from my vehicle on January 3rd, supposedly investigating this situation. Yeah, you'll see what the person reported and then how this officer explains it. First, he explains it in the one video you see. He's talking to his sergeant and he's explaining supposedly what's happening. And then in the second video, you'll hear him retelling the story to the lieutenant who does approve the arrest for the stalking charge on January 3rd. And so hopefully it makes sense. And then the court hearing stuff was the most recent, so that's why it has both of these in there.
So he was up here earlier. I don't know if you saw my email or not yet. Okay, so somebody called him in earlier. They couldn't identify him, but they had described the car that was very similar to his and described him in a way. It was very dissimilar to him. So he was up in the neighborhood parked at Bunchgrass and Alfalfa Loop. So I come up here. He gets confronted by one of the homeowners of residents up here, and he takes off. I can't find him, so I have comms check the boss camera, and he drove through at about 8 o'clock today, our own one on January 2nd. So, and then he's been up here in the area since about 9. He was taking pictures of houses, is what he told them, for Google Maps. And then we've been checking this thing every hour. I added the prowl check back, and then I just happened to find him parked up here at the end of Alfalfa Loop, like on the far east side. And so he says he was just up here because he's taking pictures of the street that he got his turn on, but this is not the street in which he had his turn on. He's on the completely opposite side, because it was on the west side that I stopped him, and he's on the complete opposite side. And then he says, well, I'm just sitting here because I had to put my contact in, and I'm just taking pictures of the road because I was trying to get the road figured out, so when I go to court. That's what he told me. But I didn't sign him on. I didn't give him a citation reference attorney. I gave him a warning on that. The only citation he ever got was for an invalid driver's license. So I pulled him out to chit chat with him, reference the suspicious thing earlier, and then talking to him after his rights, he's like, well, yeah, it was me driving around earlier, and I was taking pictures of houses because I can. And I can take pictures of roads. So right. Yeah, so I was going to hook him for stalking second degree and take him in.
Hey, I'm sorry, I've been on
55 too. Will you turn my back cam on?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he said he was taking pictures, yet he didn't have any of his cameras on. He said he was taking pictures of the road, and he was here earlier, but there was no, like, pictures of, like, anything. Like, his cameras are off, and he's not in the area in which he was even stopped remotely. He was on the opposite side of it, and then he was here earlier, took off, and then has never left the area since. So I mean, if you're telling me I don't have stalking, that's fine, but so I can unhook him and let him go. But that's the only thing I can think of that would fit in terms of charging, because I went back up to their residence, and their truck today was the first day that they had that vehicle in front of their house, and he happens to be in the area exactly by that residence. And so it scares them enough that I had to help escort them down and drop the truck off back at the PD. So that ECO's vehicle is back down at the police department, because he was parked 30 feet-ish So okay. Sure. Okay. Yeah, if you want me to call him, I will. I can do that. Okay, sounds good. Bye. Call LT. Ask him.
Okay. I was just trying to get the jump.
That's fine. Huh?
I read the code off too, word for word, hoping just to say yeah, it's good. But
This is personally not comfortable. I don't know how it doesn't fit, but so do I.
It does make a good point though that if we are going for charges, we gotta make sure that the check can stick.
So I received a call from, or I can't recall if it was an IM or not, but it was from our dispatch department. They advised that there was a subject that had started to follow the emergency communication officer from the police department and was following her home. She had also advised that, so the ECO had called the department and was speaking to one of the dispatchers there, and that dispatcher was advising me of this information and said that she had attempted to take a different way home, and the subject was still following her, and she was in fear because, given this current climate, she was a little concerned via that she had her work attire on, that the subject was following her because they believed that she worked at the police department, which she had walked out of. So did you contact the suspect at that time? I did. So when I arrived on scene, he was following her vehicle. When I arrived on scene, he turned and left the area quickly. I pulled him over for a couple different reasons and made contact with him.
Super sketchy. So he saw me following him and decided to drive like an angel. He did, however, not leave his blinker on the entire time. He turned his blinker on upon turning back over here. So that's why I was originally chit-chatting with him. A little evasive when I was trying to get his information. He disagreed why I was requesting his identification because it's a cul-de-sac. I said it doesn't really matter. Idaho State shows you have to show left or right. If you move your vehicle to left or right, you have to use your blinker.
Okay, and when you talk about the area, where are you talking about? So Alfalfa Loop is kind of it looks kind of like, it's a big circle. So when I contacted him, he had flipped around and drove over by on the west side of Alfalfa Loop and was heading from the westbound to northbound side of Alfalfa Loop when I pulled him over. Was this near the stalking victim's residence? It wasn't initially. So what initially happened was I made contact with my vehicle with him. When he saw my marked patrol car, he stopped following her and then left the area quickly, and I followed him in order to ascertain his reasoning behind contacting her or following her there.
Hey LT, sorry to bother you. Do you need a minute to wake up before I start chit-chatting with you, or do you want me to just send it? Okay, so I sent an email out. We got a call earlier reference possibly being in the area of Alfalfa Loop. So they didn't know it was it was somebody not related to our ECO. But I went up here, the description they gave of the vehicle, the description they gave of the person led me to believe that that was him. I had comms check the boss cameras and discovered that his vehicle did go through the boss cameras last night, like an hour before he was in the neighborhood of Alfalfa Loop. About 8 o'clock he went through the Celtice ball camera. So I sent a big email out, reference it, and then I put the prowl check back on. So I'm coming up here and check him around, and I see his vehicle up here again. He is on the opposite side of Alfalfa Loop where I stopped him at. So he's on the east side of Alfalfa Loop. He was parked there. He says, he does have a valid Idaho driver's license now. So I didn't get out of the car, and then I read him his rights, and basically was like, what happened? So he says that he was just in the area taking pictures, referenced the ticket that he got from me previously, and he didn't get a ticket from me regarding the turn. He got a ticket for his invalid license, and he's on the opposite side of where that incident occurred. He said he was exploring the roads and trying to see on Google Maps. So I asked him, well, how many times have you been here tonight? He goes, well, this is the first time. I said, okay, so were you not out here chit-chatting with somebody else today? And through just talking to him, he said, well, yeah, I was out here earlier. So he admitted that he was up here earlier, right around 9 o'clock-ish, till about 9:50, driving around the area, and he was taking pictures of residences and everything else. He says for Google Maps, because he was trying to take pictures of, you know, that, and he said he's free to take pictures of residences. And that he was up here again just because he's trying to, like, take pictures of the road that he got stopped on by me. However, he is on the opposite side. So I called we called Sergeant Marshall. Marshall said he is uncomfortable. I was going to hook him for stalking, second degree. And so so reference earlier, I had the ECO, like, it scared them enough that they moved their truck or their vehicle back to the police department. And the juvenile, one of the juveniles at the residence, so let me back up. My original RP referenced this whole other call, said he heard loud music blaring. And then one of the juveniles for the ECO heard loud music blaring as well in front of their residence previously tonight. So he's been back up here twice tonight. And he says it's for these reasons. And I don't believe him. Marshall is not comfortable in charging him with stalking second degree, but he said to call you and ask your opinion. He said if we're going to send it, he just wants to make sure that our ducks are all in a row. So, not that I'm aware of, and I doubt he'll tell me yes or no either way. But he was parked at Bunchgrass and Alfalfa, which is about 50 feet from the ECO's residence. And that was earlier tonight, originally. And now I found him in the same area again, parked down the way. So I've got him detained at this point in time, but I don't, whatever you guys want me to do. Take him for the stalking second? Okay. I'll do that. Alright, do you want me to have his vehicle towed to the PD or impound it? Okay, sounds good.
Ask him about seizing the phone.
Also, what about seizing his phone and his camera?
As evidence.
As evidence, reference him taking alleged pictures of stuff. Because my concern is if he's taking pictures of the ECO's residence, if that's legit or not, or either way it might be legit, so. Okay, sounds good. Alright, bye.
He's good with it?
Yeah, and we're going to seize the phone and the camera.
Perfect.
It's in the bag right there.
Okay.
I just wanted to make sure we were good on that.
Yeah, and then we're going to impound this. Yeah, do that. Let me chit chat with my friend here. I'll talk to you in just 1 second, man. Nope, turning it off. Also, he could what about seizing his phone and his camera? As evidence reports him taking alleged pictures of stuff. Because my concern is if he's taking pictures of the ECO's residence, if that's legit or not, or either way it might be legit, so. Okay, sounds good. Alright, bye.
That's what I thought. He's good with it?
Yeah, and we're going to seize the phone.
Perfect.
Camera.
Oh, perfect. It's in the bag right there.
I just wanted to make sure we were good with it.
Cool. Well, I'll get a tow started.
Get tow started.
Oh, you want to pull the keys out though? So,
Do that.
cool.
That was my,
Post Falls 11:55. Could you start a next rotational tow for that vehicle? All four tires are up. Awesome. Copy. All four tires are up also. If you could just let whatever tow company know it is, it's going to be a seizure for it to go back to the PD on their tow yard.
I copied first. I couldn't copy the rest. There's too much wind in the background.
It's going to be for stalking in the second degree.
Copy also.
You're also
Do you want to use the prowl check call or do you want a new case made?
let's keep it under the prowl check.
Copy.
Hey, 58. Do you have a tow sheet? I am out. Do you need an extra set? Okay. I will. Well, hey. Ooh, yeah, you know what, for that purpose, let's just go ahead and generate a new one, just at this location, and then we'll just link the two case numbers. Yeah, so let's just generate a new call for where we're at, and then we'll just link the two case numbers.
Was the RP attached that way?
Yes. Thank you. Bye. On the original call is ECO's address, because he can request it. We don't want him to have access to that. So we'll just link the two case numbers and call it good.
And so here we have the report from the original contact on December 20th. And so, as you see on here, it says that he observed when the driver turned from westbound to northbound, did not signal fully. You guys have seen the video, you've seen the alleged turn, so you can tell what's going on with that situation there. And so, I mean, time and time again, they're showing up and detaining me and forcing me into investigations of reports of legal conduct. I'm really confused on how they are just continually not following the law at all. So I'm really hoping getting this video out there is going to explain a lot of stuff and hopefully get some people listening, because they are trying to bury me here with a whole bunch of nonsense. And like I said, we're getting to all of it. This is just the tip of the iceberg right here. Some of you may know, some of you may not know. There's much, much more. And yes, it is all coming, and you will see it. And it's going to make a lot more sense than what they're letting out and trying to imply. Alright, you guys, so we've got these 7 times that they talk about that I was supposedly contacted and told something to basically stay away from this person or something like that. This person who I don't know their name, don't know their address, but they're able to go back and measure out feet of how far this place was and that place was, and he has no reason to be here. Well, yeah, except for taking pictures of the place you illegally pulled me over for. So here's a rundown of some of those cases that they're referencing that were supposedly them informing me of this. And see, 4 of the cases are me calling in to find out about the illegal trespass from when I was in there recording on December 28th. And then they're calling me back, leaving a voicemail, were some of the other cases. So, and never was provided a reason for the trespass from any of them. The city administrator said to contact the chief of police. Chief of police never responded. It kept getting calls from other people in the department. Never heard from him. Finally, on the first day of the new chief of police, the beginning of this month, September 1st, the chief of police contacted me and informed me that that trespass was lifted, and told me it was in place for being suspicious.
Read the stalking statute to you, okay? A person commits the crime of stalking in the second degree if the person knowingly and maliciously engages in a course of conduct that seriously alarms, annoys, or harasses the victim and is such as would cause a reasonable person substantial emotional distress. Or engages in a course of conduct such as would cause a reasonable person to be in fear of death or physical injury, or in fear of death or physical injury of a family or household member. It also talks about, as in this subsection. Anything for me?
No.
Okay.
But, so course of conduct means...
Yeah, I'll read it to you. Hold on. Course of conduct means separate or repeated acts of non-consensual contact involving the victim or a family or household member of the victim, provided, however, that constitutional...
Sorry, can you start that beginning again?
Sure. So this is just, keep in mind, this is a whole list of things, so they're not always going to be relevant to you, and it's not an all or nothing type of thing, okay? Right. So it says course of conduct means repeated acts of non-consensual contact. Yep, of non-consensual contact involving the victim or a family or household member of the victim, provided, however, that constitutionally protected activity is not included within the means of definition.
Oh, so like taking pictures.
This is not the same thing as I'm talking about. Like I said, it's not an all or nothing type of thing, okay? So then it talks about family or household member, which what that means, that's not...
multiple contact with.
That's not a hold on, I'm not finished reading it. Let me read all of it, and then I can try to answer your questions, okay? The family or household member is not relevant to this situation, so I'm going to skip that, okay? And it says... non-consensual contact means any contact with the victim that is initiated or continued without the victim's consent, that is beyond the scope of consent provided by the victim, or that is in disregard of the victim's expressed desire that the contact be avoided or discontinued. Non-consensual contact includes, but is not limited to, following the victim or maintaining surveillance, including by electronic means, on the victim, contacting the victim in a public place or on private property, appearing at the workplace or residence of the victim, entering onto or remaining on property owned, leased, or occupied by the victim, contacting the victim by telephone or causing the victim's telephone to ring repeatedly or continuously regarding or whether a conversation ensues, sending mail or electronic communication to the victim, or placing an object on or delivering an object to property owned, leased, or occupied by the victim. Victim means a person who is the target of the course of conduct. Okay? Stalking in the secondary is punishable by imprisonment in the county jail for not more than 1 year, or by a fine of not more than $1,000, or by both such fine and imprisonment. So
okay, so out of all those things,
hold on. I've read you the thing. You said you did not want to talk to me anymore. You said you don't want to answer any more questions. Therefore, you have invoked your rights.
So can you tell me what are those things on that list that I've done?
So that can be articulated in the report later. But basically, your course of conduct that you've been participating in is causing serious alarm, concern for the victim. Nope, there's more things in that statute that applies, but this is neither the time nor the place that I'm going to go through all that stuff.
And so, this is part of the email that he references on the phone call to his sergeant, asking if he had seen his email yet. And here you go. And so, what I think you'll notice here is what they're tending to like to do is reference everything back to each other and try to make things, tie things together that aren't together, including locations, addresses, and you'll even hear comments they make about that. And so you'll also see on here, so at this point they're saying that they were investigating a suspicious call from the morning or the night of January 2nd. A person taking photographs in public, and yet they're running the license plate on the camera systems. So, it should be noted, reporting party was unable to visually identify when shown a photo. However, you'll hear statements that reflect something different. Okay, this is how they explain away the situation of the vehicle being taken back. However, in my public records request, I'm requesting for the video of that, because when the vehicle was returned, there was damage to the seat, the driver's seat was ripped off, and other damage that wasn't observed in any of the body cams of the search at the location the car was inventory searched. I didn't see the kind of destruction and damage that was done to the vehicle from anything they did there. And I believe it was at the lot for a good many hours, 6, 7+ hours. So you'll notice here in this email, this is April 19th, months later. And as you're seeing everything, you'll notice the relevance of the things I'm requesting and the things that I'm pointing out will all start coming together as you see the whole picture as one big story. There's going to be a lot of stuff to cover. I'm getting to all of it, don't worry. There's a lot coming, so don't worry, we are getting it, and you will see it.
Yes, there were a total of 7 different contacts in which he either contacted our department regarding something or we contacted him regarding something. Okay, and when you say regarding something, are you talking of attempts to contact the stalking victim? It was either attempts to contact the stalking victim or get records requests of all the information regarding the incidences that we had. So he requested records from our department, and part of the records information is her name, everything associated that we've ever said about him, things like that. Okay. Now, on January 3rd then, moving into the day of the arrest, prior to the contact in which he was arrested, did you have contact with him that day? No. Okay, so the only time you contacted him on January 3rd was the contact in which he was arrested, is that right? Correct. Okay. So then, moving back to that, when he was arrested, where was he contacted again? He was contacted at the east end of Alfalfa Loop, which was approximately 700 feet from the ECO's residence.
And so I submit this public records request, and I think you'll start to understand why I'm requesting the items in here as to make sense to what's going on with everything.
Did you become aware that he had been to other police stations and things like that, courthouses, recording them as well? I was. And were you also aware that he has some mental health issues? I was advised that, yes. And so this all goes on over a 2-week period, is that right? Yes, sir. Did your office wind up having multiple conversations with him about what it was that he was doing? I believe so, sir. Were you aware of the substance of any of those conversations? Some of them, yes. And let's move on then to this ECO. How was he connected to the ECO? Well, besides, can you clarify that question, sir? How does he get to know that this person even exists? What's the connection there? Well, as far as I know, it was the original contact he had with her on 12/20. So that was when he was parked outside in the parking lot. knew about this person was that she worked with your agency, and he would have known probably her license plate. Is that it? Correct. And what vehicle she drove? Yes, sir. And as you stated later when he was trying to get this information, your concern was that he was going to find out what her name was so he could find out where her address is? Potentially, yes, sir. But at the time that you pulled him over on January 3rd, he did not know her name or her address. Objection, speculation. Sustained. I'm not done with that. But, Your Honor, I don't think there's a speculation. The question is what facts he was aware of when he made the decision that my client was in the act of stalking.
I'll sustain the objection. The way it was worded directly required the witness to speculate as to what was in the mind of another person. So, try it again.
Thanks, you. A better question, officer. When you arrested him for stalking, did you believe that he knew the name or address of this person? I wasn't sure. Just to be clear, there wasn't any kind of a civil protection order or any form of, he hadn't been trespassed from this area or anything like that? At this point in time, at the point in time that I arrested him, I believe he was trespassed from the police department. But to my knowledge, he was not, well, he potentially would have been trespassed from the residence or that, but I don't know if that happened or not. If it did, I had nothing to do with that aspect. So you weren't aware that he was in violation of any kind of an order by being in that area? Correct. Were you aware that he was engaged in what he calls First Amendment audits? Objection relevant?
Overruled.
So, I was. He reported us on one pieces. And so you had an understanding that his modus operandi is to take pictures of and record members of law enforcement and local government. Is that correct? Yes. Thank you. I don't have any further questions, Judge. Thank you.
I doubt he'd use a flip phone to take photos, right? Extra cell phone, Samsung.
Should we seize that one too? Were we already seizing his phone?
There's no recent photos on it.
No recent photos, no recent videos. He's on one.
Oh, is that another one?
We found another cell phone. You want that one too? Yeah, bro.
What about seizing his phone and his camera?
As evidence.
as evidence reference him taking alleged pictures of stuff. Because my concern is if he's taking pictures of the ECO's residence, if that's legit or not, or either way it might be legit, so. Okay, sounds good. Alright, bye. The yellow camera? Yep, that's fine. I turned it off. So that is one of the things I'll be seizing. You also had your cell phone that I'll be seizing, and then you had another phone in your car that I'll be seizing.
What do you mean seizing?
That means I'm seizing them for evidence.
And so, this second-degree stalking case from January 3rd was the beginning of the felony case that they filed. And somehow they're allowing the felony case to move right along, full speed ahead, without my due process day in court on this stalking charge, where they're allowed to present statements such as these, basically unopposed. And this video ended up being a lot longer than I thought it was going to be, so apologize for that. There is actually going to be probably a part 2 and possibly 3 coming as well. I know there's definitely more coming for this. There'll be at least a part 2, so make sure you stay watching for that. And yeah, you guys, I'm not sure how to fight this or what can be done, but they are just railroading me on this charge here and allowing it to proceed ahead of everything else. Nothing, is being questioned, or are they having to prove anything. They just write it down or get up there and say it, and that's pretty much the word.